Atlanta, Georgia's powerful Board of Regents with a $7.5 billion budget, while that board runs the state's colleges and universities like UGA and Georgia Tech.
And if you are one of its 360,000 students or employees and you're fired or expelled, you can appeal that decision to the Board of Regents. But tonight, CBS Atlanta investigative reporter Jeff Chirico exposes allegations that those appeals are being mishandled behind closed doors.
It's ruined my life.
I lost a marriage.
I literally sat there at nights and on my couch crying, begging God, why? What did I do?
These 6 people say they were unjustly fired by the University System of Georgia.
I've spent over $70,000 fighting this.
Most say they were terminated by college presidents after criticizing a school policy or practice.
Please be advised, the board has decided to uphold the decision of the president.
Each received the same form letter from the Board of Regents.
This is the final action to be taken by the board in this case.
Claiming it investigated, reviewed, and carefully considered the appeal, but denied it with no explanation.
I thought the Board of Regents was my advocate. I'm naive.
Inside this courthouse, I found these documents in the public file that the Board of Regents has tried to keep secret. In here, Regent Doreen Potvin admits that she and other regents don't actually read the appeals. I can't think of a single incident where that's been the case, says Potvin. Our analysis of 10 years of appeals reveals the board denied 97%.
I think the numbers speak for themselves. It shows that it's really just a formality, perhaps, that the Board of Regents is going through.
ACLU lawyer Nancy Abudu took on the case of a Georgia University System whistleblower, arguing the board violated his right to due process. The case lost in part because the board has immunity.
The Board of Regents benefits from the legal protections that are afforded to the state when it comes to who can sue the state and what relief a litigant can seek against the state.
I'd like to talk with you about how you handle appeals for review. For a month, we tried to interview Vice Chancellor Burns Newsom, who reviews appeals and recommends how the board should vote, a recommendation these workers say isn't based on a full investigation.
He determines whether there's grounds for you to sue, and if there's no grounds for you to sue, he sends out a form letter.
We provide the best advice we can with the documents we have.
Newsom and another board attorney eventually agreed to answer my questions. They say the key factor in making recommendations is keeping the board from being sued. They say they also consider the employee's interest.
Don't they sometimes conflict?
Why? Why would they?
I'm asking you that.
No.
They never do?
No. The best interest of the Board of Regents is to not have to lose cases in court.
Newsom says the 97% denial rate isn't proof of a rubber stamp process, but rather shows terminations are being handled properly.
People allege that the Board of Regents doesn't actually protect employees' rights to due process when they file an appeal.
Well, I should make clear that there is no constitutional right to have a hearing before the Board of Regents. The Board of Regents appeals process is discretionary entirely.
Are the rights of public employees for the University System of Georgia being protected right now?
No, not sufficiently.
After investigation, review, and careful consideration.
Despite the promise, these folks say there was no careful consideration, leaving them without the jobs they loved and unable to find work in their fields.
You get blacklisted once you get terminated.
I will literally never work again. That completely ruined my career as a teacher.
I asked Regent Potvin to talk about what she said in her deposition, but she declined. Jeff Chirico, CBS Atlanta News.
Only on CBS Atlanta News, our investigation into the powerful Board of Regents continues.
It manages billions of your tax dollars, but as we reported last night, it may be mismanaging an important appeals process for terminated employees. Tonight, CBS Atlanta investigative reporter Jeff Chirico looks at one man who was fired after blowing the whistle on a powerful state leader.
Yeah, I'd like to get my job back. I'd like the Board of Regents to actually go through the appeals process and do it right.
Todd Brandenburg spent 16 years as an X-ray tech at the Medical College of Georgia, or MCG.
8 years is a lot of time to accumulate documents.
He was fired just weeks after he filed an ethics complaint against one of his bosses, the chairman of the Board of Regents, Don Lieburn.
Would there be questions?
Convinced it was retaliation, he appealed to the top level of Georgia's university system, the Board of Regents, and lost. Blowing the whistle on the ethics violation worked. According to this document, Regent Lieburn was disciplined and fined more than $37,000 by the State Ethics Commission. Despite that, Lieburn still serves on the Board of Regents. Meanwhile, Brandenburg has spent 8 years and over $70,000 fighting to clear his name.
Do you have any sense that perhaps this termination was influenced by him filing a complaint against one of the regents?
No.
Vice Chancellor Burns Newsom says Brandenburg was fired for making what he called a patently offensive comment.
You got the most stinkiest feet, unquote.
And you said that to whom?
I allegedly said it to the patient's father.
But in a sworn affidavit, the patient's father said he wasn't offended and never complained about the comment, writing that hospital lawyers tried to force him to sign a complaint to justify Brandenburg's termination.
Could this not be just a witch hunt to get rid of somebody who upset the president of MCG?
No.
How can you say that?
Because I know that Don Lieburn had nothing to do with his termination.
Yet this email from before the incident shows the hospital president was ready to discipline employees over fallout from the ethics complaint against Regent Lieburn. Brandenburg sued the Regents for not turning over papers he felt he needed to prove his case, and lost. He sank into depression, lost his side business, then his marriage.
Do you think they have any idea what they did to you?
No, I don't think it's even a thought, because I'm not a human. I'm a number. I'm a unit of labor.
Although appointed by the governor, the Regents answer to no one, despite managing nearly $2 billion tax dollars a year. ACLU attorney Nancy Abudu.
To have an entity like the Board of Regents operating in pretty much complete isolation and autonomy with so much power is very dangerous.
Brandenburg now has a job as a mobile X-ray tech and continues to fight the Board of Regents in court to expose what he calls a broken system that protects the powerful.
If it's not fixed, if somebody doesn't look at it strongly, look at it and do what's right, then other people are going to get taken advantage of.
Brandenburg still has a pending lawsuit against the board. I reached out to Regent Lieburn for comment, but I did not get a call back. Jeff Chirico, CBS Atlanta News.
We continue our investigation into the powerful Board of Regents and allegations it fails to protect employees.
And tonight, investigative reporter Jeff Chirico has the story of one woman whose fight helped expose those failures.
I used to work in the office of the president right there for 15 years. I walked up those steps.
For Denise Calden, it's a sad homecoming.
It was common knowledge on the campus and with the administration that we had to limit his meetings, limit his speaking engagements.
She's talking about her old boss, former Middle Georgia College President David Bell, who we found has pocketed over $1 million university system dollars since turning in his resignation in 2010. In court papers, Calden, Bell's administrative assistant, alleges he neglected his duties.
He would never make a full day of work.
Never.
Never.
She claims she covered for Bell for years, even falsifying his leave reports until she put her foot down.
9 days later, I was terminated after 15 years of very dedicated service.
Claiming retaliation, Calden appealed to the Board of Regents and lost. She then filed an unsuccessful whistleblower lawsuit, and the judge sealed the evidence in the case.
I have a source at the Board of Regents. She stated to me that the administration at the Board of Regents were concerned about losing their own jobs for having allowed a president serve under his medical conditions for over 3 years.
Calden has tried to unseal the records 4 times, but Georgia's Attorney General, who represents the board, always objects.
Why do you think Attorney General Sam Olens doesn't want this made public?
Because it will open a Pandora's box.
A piece that was leaked, an admission by Regent Doreen Ponovant that regents don't review appeals filed by terminated employees before voting on them.
They make the students believe and the faculty and staff believe that their appeals are read, and they are not.
Took an oath to uphold the Constitution.
Conservative political blogger Bill Simon, who wrote a court brief on Calden's behalf, calls the AG hypocritical since the Attorney General claims to support open government.
And I believe he's engaging in very deceptive, false, misleading legal tactics to cover up wrongdoing at the Board of Regents.
Board of Regents Vice Chancellor Burns Newsom claims an internal investigation found Calden's allegations untrue, but the investigation wasn't documented.
You don't have proof that you looked into those allegations before you presented her termination and her appeal to the board.
We don't have the documents that would show that.
Newsom admits he and his staff didn't consider Calden's claims of retaliation before recommending the board deny her appeal.
I have put up my mother's wedding ring many times just to put food on the table.
This widow and mother of 3 has lost her home, her savings, and her court case, yet continues to fight to unseal the records, a fight to get her job back, now a fight to protect the jobs of others.
Just wanted them to fix what they're doing to all the faculty and staff and students, that they need to right a wrong.
After Calden's appeal was denied, the Inspector General looked into the allegations, but wasn't able to substantiate the time cards had been falsified. I contacted the Attorney General, and a spokesperson said the office stands by its pleadings. Jeff Chirico, CBS Atlanta News.
Only on CBS Atlanta News, it's a $16 million mystery. How did a state college fall so drastically in debt virtually overnight? It's an answer the powerful Board of Regents is accused of hiding from you, the taxpayers. Investigative reporter Jeff Chirico introduces us to a college student who has sued the state to uncover the truth.
Hundreds of people lost their jobs over the alleged budget crisis, including the college president. But the student newspaper editor thought the university system explanation sounded fishy. And when he began digging, he says the government stonewalled him. The same persistence that gets David Schick's 99 Escort started each day also drives his desire to uncover the truth.
At times it feels like it's like my own version of Watergate.
Just call him the Woodward and Bernstein of Georgia Perimeter College. It was 2012. Schick was editor of the student newspaper.
Blamed the administration for mismanaging the budget.
When news of a $16 million budget shortfall broke, GPC President Anthony Tricoli and 282 other employees were fired.
This is what won me the best investigative article for Georgia College Press Association.
Schick was first to report an audit found the college had been running a deficit for 4 years, while finance officials provided incorrect numbers to the president.
That's what I was trying to get at. I was like, who knew what and when? And how long ago did they know it?
His question, did university system leaders manufacture a budget crisis to get rid of a president they didn't like? Schick did what any good reporter would, ask for internal emails from the highest levels of the university system.
They came back with a $3,000 price tag.
Schick fought back. Eventually, the Board of Regents lowered the cost to $300.
Getting these open records was like Christmas.
But Schick says the university withheld certain emails that could show whether President Tricoli was intentionally kept in the dark. A year after David broke the story, he transferred here to the University of Georgia, where he's a journalism student. And although he no longer writes for the school paper, he continues his fight for transparency by suing the Board of Regents for withholding the records.
Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars are passing through these institutions with almost nobody watching. People like David Schick need full and complete compliance with the Open Records Act so that they can be our watchdogs.
Frank Lamonti of the Student Press Law Center helped Schick find a lawyer to handle his suit for free. He says Schick's ordeal raises concerns about what the Board of Regents is doing behind closed doors.
I can only speculate that there must be something really bad in those records that reflects negatively on the management of the university system.
Are they trying to hide something?
Well, I don't think anyone goes this far to obstruct, law, open records law, without having something to hide.
Schick continues reporting on the GPC budget scandal on his website, where he displays for the public every document his persistence has uncovered.
This is all about holding government accountable. I guess it is kind of like a David and Goliath thing.
A spokesman for the university system says it has turned over all the documents Schick has requested, but wouldn't say anything more because of the pending lawsuit. Former President Tricoli's attorney issued a statement which reads, in part, the evidence indicates the supposed budget deficit at Georgia Perimeter College was merely a pretext for dismissing former President Tricoli and maligning him in the press. To read the entire statement, go to our website, cbsatlanta.com, and look under Latest Headlines. Jeff Chirico, CBS Atlanta News.